Good afternoon, my myelin mangled marvels of modern misinformation. Today, we're busting some myelin myths about multiple sclerosis. I am Cliff, and this is Life with MS. Let's get going. All right, so we know that there's about 1 point blah, blah, blah million people in the United States with multiple sclerosis that are formally diagnosed, and about 3 million worldwide. That is a lot. I wonder how many are not diagnosed. I think that's the more tragic number. Okay, let's have some fun today. Basically, what we're going to be covering is the top 9 myths I could find according to my research and misconceptions about multiple sclerosis. But these are not only just things I found according to my research, they're also things I have experienced. Now, if you have MS, I can guarantee you've heard this as well. But is there any truth to some of these misconceptions? Let's find out. Number 1, and these are not in order of importance.
Oh my God, MS is contagious.
No, it's not contagious. And anybody that tells you that is pretty much completely wrong. Now, to add to the confusion, in the last few years, we've made a lot of scientific progress with the Epstein-Barr virus discovery about how it's related to multiple sclerosis, though it's not completely certain that EBV causes MS or contributes to it, but it's looking like there might be something to that. EBV is highly contagious. It is a virus, and most people have it. Something like 96% of the planet has EBV or a variant of it. And it's very difficult to vaccinate against because it's constantly changing, and there are a lot of variants of it. But the MS that it may be causing in itself later on in life is not contagious in any way, shape, or form. So if you're standing at a water cooler like this guy, and people are running from you in the office, like they're running from this guy, because they think they're going to catch MS from him, it's not going to happen. So for your friends out there that used to hang out at your house, but have since isolated you to an island like you have leprosy,
I am free. MS can't take this joy from me.
you can send them the following links below talking about how MS is actually not contagious. It's a win. Yay. Number 2, MS is an old person's disease. Well, number 1, define old. Number 2, golf is more of an old person's disease than multiple sclerosis is. And if we were trying to qualify to get into a nightclub where they were handing out MS for free, MS would really want to see you to be the age range of like 20 to 40 years old.
Am I the only woman here? This is creepy.
And statistically speaking, you're very unlikely to be diagnosed with MS after the age of 50, but it happens. And that leads to number 3. I hear this one all the time because I'm in the advocacy circle. Multiple sclerosis is a young white woman's disease. Well, that is no longer the case, and there's a number of reasons for that. We think it's because we're getting better at diagnosing it, but also people are having better access to healthcare so they can go in and get a diagnosis. There's a lot of factors that go into this one, but it's old school thinking, and it's kind of going the way of the dinosaurs. Not that I have anything against dinosaurs, and in fact, if dinosaurs were still here, MS would be the least of my concerns, but MS, according to the research, is not a young white woman's disease anymore. Now, this is AI of a young white woman, and I put in what is a young white woman with a limp, and this is what it came back with. She is quite literally very, very white, if not completely painted white. Awkward. And on a little side note, if you want to know where the MS as a white woman's disease came from, well, years back, statistically, young white women were 4 times as likely to be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis than a white male. So a 4-to-1 ratio. So the bottom line here is MS seems to be an equal opportunity condition. Thanks, MS. You're so thoughtful that way. And this next one is one I hear a lot, and it's that MS is a death sentence. And back in the day, that might have been more so true than now, but the statistics show that it's not actually a death sentence. We die with it, not from it. It's not a thing like lupus where you can have some kind of major medical issue and you end up expiring from it. Though it has happened, those are outlier cases. And as of right now, it's estimated that a person with multiple sclerosis lives 7 to 14 years less than a normal person without multiple sclerosis. But that is rapidly changing too with the improvements in things like DMTs and other medications. So pay your taxes, people, because you're not dying tomorrow, at least not from MS. Here's another misconception that I often hear a lot, and it's that people with multiple sclerosis require a wheelchair. No, we don't all require a wheelchair. Now, it's true. it changes. Sometimes people that have had wheelchairs have had their condition improve and they no longer require a wheelchair. Now, I personally, when I was first diagnosed, was using a walker and a cane. I still use a cane during the summer. However, back in the day, before really good medications and better understandings of the disease, people used wheelchairs. In fact, I know somebody that was in a wheelchair for about 15 years and somehow her MS changed and she got out of the wheelchair and now plays golf. This disease is really weird like that. So I guess that's good and bad. It's like we're not committed to a wheelchair, but at the same time, we don't know if we might have to be. Thanks, MS, for the head games. And if you watch my channel, you know I love numbers and research. And statistically speaking, an estimated 60 to 75% of people diagnosed with multiple sclerosis retain their ability to walk, though it may be hindered in some capacity, such as mine, which can be good some days and just not very functional some other days. And this next one comes up a lot, and that is if your MS is mild, you don't need treatment. Now, this is one I am really struggling with personally. If you've been watching my episodes, you know I have been on Ocrevus, you know I've been on Kesimpta. Neither one of those worked out for me, so now I need to pick a new one. I feel really great off my medication, but I feel like I'm really playing with fire not being on some type of disease-modifying therapy for my multiple sclerosis. And right now, my MS feels fairly mild, but that could change on a dime. Am I aging out of MS or not? The research is all over the place. There is stuff to suggest that you don't need to continue MS treatments at a certain age. But I think, at least personally, I have to play the long game and need to prevent further relapses and progression of the disease, which means I probably, even though I feel fairly mild right now, need to be on a DMT. So the whole idea that if it's mild, we don't have to be treating it, I'm not sure I agree with that one, but I would really like to. And this next one really bugs me, and I take it very personal, and that is that exercise or physical activity is bad for people with multiple sclerosis. Now, when I was first diagnosed, I was told to basically go home, quit my job, and take it easy. And that's exactly what I did. I was never more depressed in my life, and I was never more frail in my life. And a huge part of that, and it took me 2 years to realize this, is that I just needed to keep moving. I can't just stop and let MS eat away at me. We need to keep moving. We need to keep the muscles from atrophying, that is to say, shrinking and basically dissolving away. And within reason, the more exercise and physical movement we get and the better we eat, the better we're going to do in the long run, according to the research. And I got to believe that. And this next one I see on the Reddit forums and I see on the Facebook forums all the time. People with MS should not get pregnant or cannot get pregnant. And either one of those I don't think is true. Of course, the should not get pregnant is a matter of opinion, but cannot get pregnant is a matter of scientific fact. And they, in fact, can get pregnant. What should they? Well, we have a kid. Of course, I wasn't the one that got pregnant in that part of the relationship. And our kid is easily the biggest joy of our lives. I'm speaking for my wife and myself. And he actually really takes my mind off my multiple sclerosis most of the time. He focuses on the things that bring great joy to life. And I just love that intensity and enthusiasm. And it brings a lot of hope to even my grimmest days. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not a healthcare provider. I'm just a bald dude on YouTube with multiple sclerosis. And I would say to anybody who's like, I don't know if I should have kids with MS. Yeah, it's really freaking hard with multiple sclerosis. It's like having a whole nother child. But at the same time, I'm just speaking from experience. It is absolutely the best thing that's ever happened to me and my wife. And of course, there is a side note to this, and that is people with MS are always wondering if they're taking a disease-modifying therapy like Ocrevus or Kesimpta, will that affect the pregnancy? Well, talk to your healthcare provider. I can't comment on that, but I know I often see that as a question for people living with multiple sclerosis. So, talk to your doctors. They know. Moving on, specific diets can cure MS. Now, I have seen a lot of crap online, and if you watch my channel, you know that I definitely agree that certain types of food help my multiple sclerosis, and there's a lot of research that supports that, and that certain diets do actually help with inflammation. However, there is no diet currently that's going to cure multiple sclerosis, and there is no research to support that, at least that I could find. So when people tell me,
Oh, I have a cousin that has MS and they went keto and they go to the gym all day long and they're doing fine.
well, okay, there's probably a combination of things there, but they're not curing their MS doing that. They're probably managing it very well. So no, there is no cure via diet for multiple sclerosis. That is a fallacy.
A diet that cures MS. Fake news, everyone. Fake news.
And that's it. Those are the 9 I want to gripe about right now, but there are many more. Comment below with the most ridiculous ones that you have heard. And remember that everything I mentioned in here and everything I support in here is evidence-based, and I have linked all the articles in the description below. Lastly, I am not a healthcare provider. I am not a doctor, so speak with your healthcare team if you have questions regarding any of this stuff. And until next time, I'm Cliff. This is Life with MS, and I'm out. Oh, yeah, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share if you found this content valuable.
Subscribe.
That's pretty good. All right. Are you hungry?
Yes.
Let's go eat.